So the sacrifice will be made through paying lower bills as far as the rent goes. Cable, we are looking at 2 cable bills or 2 cable companies, DirecTV, and we're also looking at the other cable satellite dish that we also have just as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of those and go to basic cables. But making these 2 changes with either the cable company and or the rent, if utilities are included, we'll look at stabilizing the budget. We'll look at stabilizing the monies that's coming in. With the stabilization of that money that's coming in, we're able to do more things that are not ongoing. When I say that are not ongoing, what I'm talking about is they're not ongoing monthly bills. We can put some money into savings. We can begin to start rebuilding ourselves as far as placing money where money needs to be, whether it be in an emergency situation, something for the kids to be able to get involved in. We'll have more elbow room money to be able to stabilize the country in and of itself. We can purchase clothing. We can start looking at getting food without worry as well. So these things is that what we need as a country. We're not far behind, but we're kind of underwater. And regardless on how far you're underwater, what we have to recognize is you can't breathe. We're at the point, ladies and gentlemen, where we can't breathe. So with the change in this, we can be able to start seeing some situations where we can begin to start to breathe. If we do downsize, it would at least be for about a year, maybe 2. But we will not, and this I promise you as your president, we will not come out of that situation. We will not come out of that, of an apartment into any type of more of an expensive living arrangement before we begin to start seeing stabilization. When I say stabilization, what am I talking about? I'm talking about as a country that we have enough savings in the bank, that we have a interest-bearing account, that our kids are okay and well-to-do. We have the correct insurances in place. We have our vehicles either paid off or very close to being paid off. We have enough money in the goose egg account to be able to get the things that we actually need. That if we do get another place, that we are not paying more than 25% of our total income. That's what I mean by stabilization. There has to be a discipline about the money that's being spent, about the money that's being saved, and the way that we are using the excess monies. This will happen. This is not something that's going to be talked about. 30-day notices has already been given. The looking at apartments complexes, including versus housing with rent at what we're looking at of 500 or 600 with utilities included has already been something that we have been searching for. So everything that I'm talking about today has already been implemented, has already been gone to work. We're not sitting here just talking. This is something that's being done. So I wanted to talk to you all after we know that something is being done. Everything that I'm talking about is being executed already. We will put monies away. And the monies that we put away is earmarked money. The earmarked money will come from the machines that have been sitting in the garage, collecting dust, sitting down and not doing anything and not making money. We'll utilize what we have. So we will take the gumball machines and we're going to place the gumball machines. And we're going to place them and we're going to run that vending business. Since it's sitting there, we'll run that vending business. We will make sure that we at least have $30 a month coming out of each machine. If $30 a month is not coming out of a machine, we're going to look for a better place to place the machine. And we won't stop until each machine is pulling $30 or more. What are we going to do with the money? The money is not going for vacation. The money is not going to get a new car. We're no longer going to put ourselves in debt. And we will not clean up our debt with more debt. We will not go into payday loans. We will not borrow the money from anybody. We will stand up as a country that's in trouble, and we will make the adjustments and the sacrifices that need to be made. We will take the money from the gumball machines and begin to start building the deficit. we'll start to bring those scores up from 534 and 588 up to the 600s. We will not make a move until those things are done. We will continue to pay child support when child support is due. It doesn't matter if we get a raise or whatever, we will stay where we're at, and we will still stay living where we're at. We are not going to, if income increases into the household, we will not increase the expenses. We will not increase the expenses. Debt is something that will not be tolerated by this country anymore. It's getting tiring, it's getting frustrating, and it doesn't help us at all as a country. We will discipline ourselves, and we will make the sacrifices that need to be made for this country. We have to survive. We have the will to survive. We've gone through this long, but this is the time where the buck stops. We will, as a country, pull together, and we will begin to start building the deficit. That money will be earmarked. Calls will be made. Settlements will be talked about. And we will sit on the phone until we settle with each one of them. And not only that, but we will go ahead and we will take the deficit and we will challenge everything that's on there. Everything. We can't win. We can't lose at all. The only thing that they'll tell us is that we owe it. And if we owe it, we'll pay it. So these are some of the things that we will do for the deficit. We will not make another move. We will not purchase a home. We will not open up another credit card account. If we do open up a credit card account, I'm letting you know that what that will be used for is it'll be used to build the deficit. We will pay the minimum on it, up to a half. And we will use it to increase the deficit, and only that. The discipline will be used there, and we will not, as a country, overspend it. We've seen what that got us. The premier American credit cards in which that we have in the deficit right now is being taken care of. We will continue to pay the balances on those, and we will pay the balances down to where we're increasing at the half. So the 588 mark could continue to keep rising. We want to look at 615, 620. Why not 700? We can do that if we discipline ourselves and start looking at money in such a different way. So is the credit to be there? The credit is there. We will have credit. And when I'm talking about credit, is I'm talking about credit cards. And we're only using those credit cards to build the deficit and bring those scores up. So we will continue to keep the two that we have, and we'll build those up. We'll pay down the balances to at least half, and that will increase the credit score. The same thing on the 534. We will have a credit card, because once the scores start increasing from the collections and no judgments are on it, but at least the collections, that once we start taking and get rid of those, the credit card application is going to come. We'll do one credit card, maybe two at the most, and we'll pay it down to a half and begin to start paying the minimum on each one of those. Not for entertainment. Things like gas, things like food, things that can be paid for. And what we'll do is we'll put the money away that we just spent. So if we put $45 on food, then we're going to put the $45 away into an account. It'll stay there until the actual bill comes at the end of the month. We will pay half of that, and that will bring down the balance, because you can't have it at 100. We have to bring the balance down to where we at least have minimum, at least the balance due is half, and then we begin to start making the payments from there. But we will always make sure that we do have the money before we put fuel in the car. That money goes aside. We'll make sure that we do have the money when there's food that's being used on a credit card. That money will go into the account. Because debt is an evil word for this country. Is an evil word for this country, and we will not have debt in this country anymore. We will move somewhere closer to the children's school. By doing that, we're saving gas. And speaking of saving gas, we're going to do that as much as possible, wherever possible. We don't have very gas economical cars. But if we pay them off, they're economical enough. And that will be one of our goals, is to pay off both vehicles. We will never ever buy a vehicle on credit again. That is a debt. Interest rate will only be on a home. And by the time that we finish, I promise you our interest rate will be great. Our housing will be in a good situation, a good status that we'll be standing in as a country. That I promise you. Will it take long? It doesn't have to take long, but it will take hard work. And it will take discipline. And it will take something from each and every last one of us. But as your leader, as your chief officer, I will make sure that I stand by the words when I say no more debt for this country. So we will move closer to the schools. We'll save money on gas by going to school and church in the same area. We will travel further to work as we live or as we work on the east side. But if I can, we'll buy scooters. We'll buy something that is more gas economical. We are going to sell everything that we possibly can get our hands on in the home on our way to a smaller place. What that will do is it'll begin that stabilization also with good income. The good income and that monies will be placed in the bank. And that'll help towards either a down payment or deposit on the new apartment in which that we'll get. Also what that does is it'll bring down the storage space. Maybe eliminate the storage space all the way around together. And what that'll do is it'll take away from the continuously monthly payment on a storage. If it does not, we want to make sure that when we're talking about rent, that rent is at a place that includes the storage fee. The storage fee is $70 a month. Then we want to make sure that our rent, if the utilities are included, are $600, and we're paying about $670. Now, that has to go without saying. We can't get out of that. But we're going to do the best that we possibly can to sell as much as we can so that the storage is not so high. And if we can get a place that's large enough, then we'll keep everything in there without junking it up, because we still do have to live as a country.